it just shows you education will change a community, Always, whatever I do in my life, there was people there to help me. So I want to be there for other people when they need me too. It just shows you the whole humans are the same thing. You were helped before, be there for people so you can help them. It's just giving back.
Welcome to The Human Experience. I'm Jennifer Peterkin, and this is episode 10, Amin's story. Amin was born in Somalia, but spent many of his formative years in a refugee camp in Kenya before settling in the United States to pursue his education. Having the opportunity to sit down with Amin was a privilege. He is so kind, intelligent, humble, and compassionate. His story is one of resilience, hard work, and hope. The life Amin has lived is not one I can relate to. I've never been displaced from my home. I didn't have to rely on education to get me where I wanted to go in life. It's not about comparison, but about the acknowledgement that Amin and many people that are living in a similar situation have a well of strength and wisdom that I don't have access to. Which is why I'm so grateful that he was generous with his story. Amin, that's right,
Yes.
right? Amin, okay. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, why not start from Winnie, right?
Yeah,
My
Winnie.
wonderful teacher that made this,
Yeah, made this connection.
Yeah.
I do love Winnie.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to her recently? Do you keep in touch with her?
Yeah, so we just kind of text back and forth here and there,
Yeah.
keep in touch, but nothing formal or nothing, Winnie was my wonderful teacher back home, just like many other teachers who made me, who made the person I am today.
Yeah.
We had a special connection. She used to be my English teacher, by the way.
Well, she did a great job. Your English is great.
She was awesome. And then guess what? She also was my 3-session French teacher. So bonjour, madame.
Oh, wow.
That was from her.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It's more than I can do.
Yeah, so I think I met Winnie in the refugee camp. That's Hagadero refugee camp in Kenya. We used to have two types of teachers. We used to have students from the school who turned to be teachers, so we call them local teachers. And then we used to have teachers that are brought from down Kenya, meaning like they're brought from the other parts of Kenyan land, and they used to come. So Winnie was one of those teachers that came from, deep down Kenya to the side, all the way down to the refugee camp. We had other wonderful teachers like Amunga, Mongai, just, I can't name them all, but KK was one of them. Just amazing teachers who sacrificed their time with their loved one to be with us, And I know you heard this, refugee camp was not safe place to be, so they still sacrificed, like they gave up a lot to just be with us. And we learned a lot from them. We appreciated them. It's just kind of like I get goosebumps just thinking about them, because back then I didn't knew how important was education. I was just in a school, but they were like, guys, this is the way out of here, learn, Sweeney was my English teacher. We were going through all this poem and all these books, and I'm like, I don't even know these people's name. I can't even pronounce. I'm having a hard time pronouncing the names and pronouncing the words,
Yeah.
But she just made us.
She stuck with it.
Yeah, she stuck with us, and we learned through it. So fast forward coming here, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm up to level. I can get going here. I can run, I can do whatever I want just because of that foundation that they laid for us,
Yeah.
both the local teachers and, the national teachers. Yeah. So it was amazing. So we end up talking, Miss Winnie. I think she ended up coming here.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah. For a while. We kept in touch through Facebook. That's the main thing. Social media is just making unimaginable connection with the humans. Before it used to be like once you move out of a place you're down with there, but now I still keep in touch with my friends, with my teachers all over the world, by the way. A lot of them in Canada, a lot of them in Kenya. I went to Somalia 2019, 2020, and I was with my grandma, and then I was born in Somalia but kind of never went back. When I went there, my grandma thought I would be alone, I would be lonely. She was shocked to to realize that I was just as busy as I was here. Friends left and right, taking me places, taking me to cities, taking me to, I was just super busy. So thanks to social media, those connections exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if we went back years, where once you move out, you don't have any connection with friends, it will be hard to reignite, that friendship. But just because we were in a different place, but everybody knew what everyone was doing, kind of like. So once we see each other, it's like, hey, I know everything. You don't even have to tell me anything. I know everything about you. You know everything about me. Let's just go.
I saw
on.
Pictures of your kids last week.
Yeah. How are they doing, by the way?
You went to the zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just awesome. So
yeah. That's fantastic. So you were born in Somalia, you said.
Yep.
When did you leave Somalia?
So I was born in, oh my God, I'm going to reveal my age here, 1989.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, she looks a lot younger than me. So yeah, I was born there and pretty much stayed in Somalia till 2005. That's when we moved to, Kenya. We moved to the refugee camp, especially Hagardera refugee camp. That's actually, a lot of people associate the refugee camp with negative quotation or negative experience. For me, surprisingly, it was the best time of my life. That's where I gained the best knowledge in my life, best friends in my life, everything. I went back there 2019. I was just full of euphoria, happiness. Yes, there was the difficulty of just being in that refugee camp, life situation and all that. But again, sometimes when you frame things to positivity, for me at least, I don't even know what my siblings think about the refugee experience, but for me, it was the best experience in my life. There was not that much opportunity available for a lot of people, but education was free. And that seems at that time, there was other programs going on. There was free food going on, free healthcare system going on there. But looking back, I think that free education they provided in the refugee camp must be one of the best thing ever,
Yeah.
If it follows you everywhere you go, it doesn't stop there,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you were in your late teens when you got to Kenya. So what did education look like at that point? Were you getting a primary education, and then did you get like a secondary education there, or did you leave to get secondary education?
So I actually started my primary education in the refugee. I started in 5th or 6th grade in the refugee camp, and then we end up finishing 8th grade. So in the refugees, the system is when you finish 8th grade, you go to secondary education, which was very limited. A lot of students trying to go there. So it was point-based, depending on what grade you get, you will go on. And if you don't meet the cut, you don't go to the secondary education. So I ended up making the cut. I went to secondary education on my 12th grade. That's American system, but over there they say it Form 4. That's when I left to come to the U.S. So I didn't finish per se, but I was almost there at the finish line.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah. So gosh, I feel like we're skipping over so many things, but
that's how you want it, right? All over the place. Let's do it. Let's roll with it.
I'm good with that. So how did you get here? I mean, that's such a big question, but you credit it to your education, right?
So when you go to the refugee camp, there's something called resettlement programs where some refugee families are allowed to go to third country or a different country other than Kenya, like Canada, England, Australia, somewhere in Europe, and then US. It's just luck-based. People go through interviews. People wait for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Some wait 4 years. There's no logic method that they use. I don't know what they look at you, what they see in you, and then they decide to send you away. But everybody just is hopeful. So basically, everyone in the refugee camp was hopeful one day they're gonna be resettled to a safer country where they can pursue their education higher, find more job opportunity. Because life in refugee basically was in between. You are not home,
right?
You're not. And the other caveat to this situation was the Kenyan government didn't allow a lot of refugees to move out of the camp, so you're literally stuck there. That's why we had local teachers. So they finish high school, they didn't get enough grade to go to Canada or somewhere else, so now you have all this high school graduate who are just teaching because they're not allowed to go to Kenya also. There's a lot of restriction back and forth, so many things going on, but the big picture is everyone had opportunity to come to a different country, but then it was luck, opportunity-based kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, but
yeah, from explaining.
Yeah. Your explanation makes sense. That's so crazy that you could spend... Because I think people do think of refugee camps, generally speaking, as the in-between. And so I think a lot of people don't understand how many years people can live there.
Yeah, so Hagadera was initially started in 1991. And it was supposed to be just a temporary shelter for people getting away from, the wars in Somalia, which turned out to be a big city now. People who came 1991 are still there. People who came 2010 maybe. There's no logic.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, basically. Anything can happen. So people were just there every day. Any day they will tell you leave or stay or go or So everybody's just like pretty much have your backpack packed and just wait. And so that's what kind of demolished a lot of people's morale. Is like you don't know what you're doing tomorrow. So a lot of people are like on the edge waiting to move, and so you will be on the edge for 10 years, 20 years. So it's hard to do things beside.
Yeah.
That's where education for me came in, because instead of being on the edge and waiting for something is not in my power, I literally just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to go to school. I'm going to take advantage of this free education and then kind of see how life goes from there,
Yeah.
There was one thing, though, with education that was guaranteed is if you finish your high school and get good grades, there's a free ticket to go into Canada. And that's if you have a good grade, they'll go through other process, but it's always a guaranteed. So that I'm like, there's one guaranteed way here. Mm-hmm. Everything else seems to be up in the air. Why not go that route? So that's why I think I put a lot of effort in education.
Yeah,
kind of thing,
Sure. I think that makes total sense. But you left right before you finished.
Right before. So and that brings me back to my experience when I left refugee. I hated leaving it. I didn't want it to come to the U.S. Just the opposite of everybody's feeling. Everyone else like, hey, you're going to the U.S. That's the best day of your life. You're just, oh my God, this is, For me, I'm like, no. I worked so hard for the last 5 years. I've been putting my time in. I've been studying so hard. And now here, right before my finish line, I got to go to the U.S. No, I don't want to go there. I want to go to I want to go to Canada, pursue my education, do something with my life. So I actually brought up this point to my principal of the high school and some community leaders, and we almost went to the UNHCR, that was the agency that was running the refugee, and told them like, hey, is there any way, and by the way, I was one of a family of 10. So they used to have this system where they will give you a ration card mm-hmm. based on how many people in that family. So our card was a family of 10, size 10. That's what they call it. I was like, is there any way that 9 of this family member can leave and you just leave me here? I thought I was going to Canada with my good grades and all that good stuff. So I was like, is there any way this rest of the family can go to the U.S. and I can stay? And I was told, no, if you have to do that, that's called separation of card, then your family have to restart the whole process. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, just because of my selfishness or, whatever I wanted to myself, I don't want to put them in a situation where they have to. And then once you restart it, there's no guarantees.
Right. Again, no guarantee.
Yeah. So I end up coming to the U.S. crying, hating this experience. I'm like, but it turned out to be good. I will talk about it.
That makes sense, though. I mean, you're in this environment where nothing is guaranteed and you are trying to find your kind of purpose and you settle your purpose on education. And then right before you finish, it's kind of ripped away. So I think that makes total sense. Yeah. So, but then your whole family came to the U.S. Yeah. All 10 of you. All
10 of us came together. We settled in San Antonio, Texas. Go Spurs, go. Just so that they can hear me say that. Yeah, so here I am in Texas. And I think and it was back in late in 2010. Social media was not a big deal. It didn't catch this, spread in Africa or refugee camp. So I didn't know a lot of things that was happening here. I didn't know the story here. Right now, if you go back home, everybody knows everything. They know the weather. They know everything about the U.S. They actually know better, more than I do. So back in the days, I didn't know anything. I didn't know how things were. So I'm here in Texas, this huge land. Everything is big in Texas. And I'm just shocked. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't thinking. I didn't have any other family members in Texas. So this is the first shock of me. So right now I'm like just hitting 20, something like that. So I went to high school and I was told, hey, dude, you're too old to be in high school. Get out of here.
Oh.
And I'm like, I came here for education. You can't just kick me out. So this is one thing, I've seen so many things in the U.S. for the last 10 to 12 years. Information is a huge thing in life, One thing I realize is people don't share a lot. It's okay to tell me you're not qualified to go to high school, but tell me the option that's available. Yeah. So they didn't tell me anything. They just told me, hey, your age is, you're too old to be in high school. Just get out of here. So that shocked me. Just think about my background. Like I was in school, working so hard, and I was told to leave that education, and I came here, and the first thing I'm looking for is to go back to school, and I'm told like, hey, you're not cut for this because of your age. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And nobody gave me any alternative, like any other option, like, oh, there's something else you can do or this. So I was at home for a whole month, just seeing my siblings go to school every morning. I'm just at home doing nothing.
Are you the oldest?
And I was the oldest.
Okay. So yeah,
that's a whole other thing that we can talk about.
Yeah, you're really leading the charge here.
So I'm like, you know what? To hell with kind of like education. I have 10 siblings. Let me just help them, achieve their dreams. That's literally what I decided to do, So one day I was just walking around in the neighborhood, and then I saw this place with the name Refugee Center. So I went in there. I'm like, hey guys, what are you guys doing here? They're like, oh, we just help refugees settle. We do things for them. I'm like, okay. Is there any way you can help me with school? Yeah. You can go to high school. I'm like, no. They told me I can't go there because of my age. They're like, yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You can do something called GED, General Education Diploma. I'm like, what is that? That's anything who cannot. That's for anyone who cannot finish their high school because of maybe early pregnancy or dropout or whatever. They can go ahead and get that diploma and go to college. So like, is there any way I can do that? They're like, yeah, let's do a practice test before that. I knew back home in refugee, for you to go to Canada, you have to have a good grades, right? So I was one of those students who were in the top. I used to actually teach my classes lower than my class. Like I will go to 10th grade, 9th grade, help them, teach them. So I'll say, and this is not to brag about my education background, but I was a little bit good with, math, English, science, everything. Yeah. I don't like bragging.
You earned it, it sounds like.
I'm like, yeah, show me this practice test. I'll do it.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you'll do the practice test, and then you'll take a class for 6 months, and then if you're ready, you'll take the test. Yeah, show me the practice test. They bring me to this practice test. It's literally 5th grade math, 4th grade. I'm like, what is this? So I just aced it right there, like 100 out of it. I'm like, dude, you don't even need a class. You can just take the test. I'm like, yeah, where's the test? Show me the test. So they scheduled the test for me. It was over 3 days, 1, 2, 3 days, different subject. But I didn't have a car. So one of the counselors at the refugee center, shout out to Albert Robert was his name. He took me there, every morning, like for 3 days. And I just sat down, did the test, passed it. Like, oh, thank God. Now I'm done. Then what's next now? They're like, yeah, you can go to college. Is there any way you could take me there? So again, they took me to college. They're like, okay, you have a diploma, we see, but let's see if you're ready for college. There's something called a college preparatory class that you have to take if you're not ready. It's basically math and English and reading that you have to do to get ready for college. But before that, let's do this test to see where you are. I did the test. I'm like, dude, you ready for college? You don't need those classes. I'm like, yeah, I knew that. Send it to me. So that's how my education in the U.S. kind of, started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were preparing for so many years that when you got here, you were like, guys, this has been my whole life. I'm ready.
I've been literally getting ready for this moment in the refugee camp, But yeah, it turned out to be, when you look back things, so not going to high school was actually the best thing for me.
Yeah.
If I went to high school, it means I will spend a whole year making up credit
that you didn't need.
I didn't need, So going to GED class, which just literally took me 3 days to be done, was much better. I keep telling my brother, who was 2 years younger than me, and we were very competitive also, dude, and he was going to high school every morning, dressing up as a Air Force or, what they do in high school. I'm like, dude, I'm going to college.
You get on my level.
Yeah. So a month of sadness turned out to be, and that's one thing I learned from life is sometimes one door closes, there's another one just waiting to open. Just kind of wait for it to open.
Sometimes it's the best thing.
Yeah.
So you were in the camp from 2005 to 2010.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you said that a lot of your friends went to Canada, and which is why you wanted to go there, right?
Yeah.
Like you had a community there already waiting.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you got settled here, forming a community? And how long were you in Texas? Did you find community there? Yeah. Is mind-boggling. Like, you found this refugee center on your own. Nobody told you it was there, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, so they have this, there's something called Catholic Charity that is, I think, tasked by the government to help refugees settle, which they really did do a good job, But everybody's need is individualized and everyone is different. So a lot of refugees' need is usually a blanket need, like, they need a house, they need a food. That's a priority, and I understand that. But sometimes, when there are kids involved or children involved or even, teen adults or whatever involved, sometimes those needs are different, Everyone is different. So we had a case manager. They were more involved in the food and the shelter and the basic human needs.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, my basic human need was education. And
well, even just navigating the system. Like you said, the information is so key and you didn't get any of it.
I was shocked, but, thinking about, if I was a case manager right now helping a family out, the first thing I'll do is just sit down with them like, hey, what do you guys need? What do you guys want? But I think, we want to make everything simple in life. We standardize things like, okay, when you're settling a refugee, this is the checklist: house, food, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
But everyone is different, and this is not to say negative thing about them, but it was hard. And that's up to today what I do the best. And every day is like talk to people, see what they need, kind of like help them guide. I am trying to help people avoid the mistakes I made, or not a mistake necessarily, but the longer route I took to get to places instead of there's a short route that, exists.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but it was hard and I didn't have anyone else. So yeah, I stumbled through this refugee center and they do a great job of, helping people find a job. And that was the big thing. Everyone wanted to find a job. That was, I think, kind of like the priority for everyone. But my priority was different. I wanted to find education. I wanted to find a school because I was talking to my friends back home. I was calling them. I'm still competing with them like low key, like, hey, what's up, guys? So while I'm doing this, they graduated from high school, and then there's this waiting for the grade. You wait for your grade and what you get after high school. So I'm waiting with them, and I see what they all got, and I see who end up going to Canada. I see who end up staying, and they're calling me like, hey, you're in the U.S., what happened? What are you doing? Which college are you in? And I had a teacher, his name is Amunga, call me like, hey, make sure you don't waste your life working. Make sure you get education. I'm like, okay, but I have nothing here in my head. I'm not telling them this, but I'm like, I need to get my shit together so I can. So,
no, you're right.
It was a lot of things going on.
Yeah. So how long were you in Texas?
We're
not in Texas now.
Yeah,
so.
I'm in Minnesota now, guys. It's very cold here. I was
very different weather in Minnesota.
I was in Texas for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And actually, after 1 year, it was very hard for my family to be there. It was just, there's not a lot of help. Minnesota, we have a lot of large Somali community here. So
Really?
Yeah. And I have a lot of relatives here. My uncle is here, my aunts are here, my grandma is here. So if you come to Minnesota, it will be easier to transition than being in Texas. But there is this system in the U.S. where every state takes a specific number of refugee, but then once you settle in, you can move around. And go.
Okay, yeah.
So after 6 months, after I got my GED and I got into college, my family, they are like, we're not going to stay here. We're going to move to another state. I'm like, thank you guys. Peace out. You can go now. I'm not going to follow you guys anywhere. I just started school. I'm not going to give up again. So my family actually initially moved to Minnesota back in 2011.
Oh, wow.
But
so pretty immediately.
Yeah, but I said, no, I'm not going this time.
Yeah, that makes
just
sense.
Started school.
You just got
and
your
I've
feet on the
never
ground.
lived in my alone in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time I'm telling them, you guys are in the U.S., I'm in the U.S., there's 50 states, keep going, I am done moving. So I stayed behind, and then I ended up going to college there. I ended up graduating with my nursing degree, and then I moved to Minnesota in 2017 as a travel nurse.
Oh, wow,
Before even I just moved, I'm like, I got to go and check it out before I go there. I was playing so safe.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's very little community in Texas.
Yes. Yeah.
Why is there more community up in Minnesota?
So the largest Somali community in the U.S. or North America are, I think, in Minnesota, followed by Seattle and then Ohio. And if you look at all these three regions, they're cold regions, snow and everything. My guesstimation is the first family moved to Minnesota, and we're a community that talk oral conversation. And I think the first family liked it here. It was probably in the middle of summer, July, and they told us that. They told the rest, I'm like, yeah, guys, move here. It's awesome, you know?
It's so nice.
Like, seriously.
It's so warm.
Yeah, so everybody else moved here. I think Minnesota is a nice state, you know, very welcoming. We have a lot of establishment here owned by Somalis. We understand the system. It's where everybody is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the state, you know, we're in the Senate. People end up coming here and then establish themselves here, and then they just pretty much stay. So anyone that moved to the U.S. now, and let's say they moved to Alaska, 6 months later, you'll find them here.
Yeah.
2 months, you know, the longest that someone like me, resist for 8 years, and still you'll find yourself
Still
here.
end up here. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that goes to show how important community is,
yeah,
right?
it is.
Yeah,
It is. Especially in, you know, North America, when you're not home, you miss food from home, you miss friends from home. Here, I can go to Somali Mall right now and run into a friend that I've not seen for 10 years. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. So think about your off days. So an off day like that is way different from an off day in Texas where you're just sitting at home and playing your Xbox.
Yeah, definitely. And it's closer to Canada, a lot closer.
Yes. I actually end up going to Canada from here to visit my friends.
Yeah. So you went to university in Texas for nursing, and then you moved to Minnesota as a travel nurse. I mean, I feel like we're going to go back again, but tell me what you're doing now, because it's amazing. Like, you have placed such an emphasis on education. It has been such a big part of your life, and it still is. It's still very much a part of who you are and what you value.
Yeah. So, I ended up coming here as a travel nurse, and I used to work in ICU at Abbott, and then I went to Fairview System. I worked in the ICU, and then another goal came to my life. I saw some CRNAs, certified nurse anesthetist, and I'm like, who are you guys? And they're like, oh, we are 2-3 years away from where you are. You know, you go to school and you become anesthesia, you know. It's like, I got to do that. It's like, I always need a challenge in my life. So I end up doing my bachelor's online, took a couple of classes, and then I applied to anesthesia school. It's hard to get in. It's tough program. I just got accepted into St. Mary's University in Minnesota.
Just now?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's a 3 years program. I started this fall, so I'm actually in my first semester. Halfway, you see me carrying a book. I have to read about it because I have a test Monday.
Oh my goodness! And he's sitting here with me doing an interview.
No, this is awesome. Yeah, so I am in a doctorate program right now. It's a doctorate of nursing of anesthesia. It's a DMP. It's a 3 years program. Yeah, and we'll see once I get there where I'm gonna go. Or
That's fantastic.
yeah, thank you.
So you have your own family.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So I actually have 3 kids. Back in the refugee camp, I knew my wife. We went to same school, and then we kept, in touch. And then I went back 2013 to Uganda because that was the only place we can meet. I wasn't able to go to Kenya because of my legal status, I'll say. I didn't have a passport kind of thing. I only had a green card. So I had to go to Uganda, meet her there, get engaged. Came back, started nursing school. So I could not go back for 2 years because I was in nursing school. Then graduated from nursing school in 2015, then went back, then kept going back. So going back for me was like the best thing because I'll go back. Again, I feel like I'm a social person. So every time I go back, I get to see my friends, get to be with my wife and my kids. So that was kind of like my break time. I'll be working for like 9 months. I'll go back for 3 months, go back. So finally, I got my citizenship in 2016. Yeah, immediately petitioned for my wife and kids to get here. Then things take a turn, right? It took forever to get them here. It took 4 years. Trump comes, refugee ban, all this, whatever. So finally, they joined me here in June of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, is it 2019 or 2020? I don't even know which year. Seriously, it took forever. That's all I knew. So right now we're all connected here. We live in Burnsville. This is the first time, actually. I think they've been here with me for almost a year and a half to 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a whole different vibe now.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm like, guys, you could have waited 3 more years until I get to anesthesia school.
We're so close.
Yeah. But yeah, life happens left and right. And I just had a baby 2 months ago. So.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah. You just start anesthesia school. You look at the schedule. There's Wednesday. It's a light day. They only have 2-hour class. I'm like, I can bring a baby into this world. So in the morning, I was in the hospital with my newborn baby. And then in the afternoon, I was in class. So.
Oh, my goodness. That's incredible. But I think that's difficult to be away from your family for that long. For your wife to be, so the camp is in Kenya. How does she get to Uganda?
So she actually went to the same school I did. She got a good grade to go to Canada, but because of her paperwork, whatever, something was not right and she wasn't able to go there. But then they gave her an opportunity where she can come to Nairobi, Kenya and go to a school there. Like, I think University of Nairobi is where she went.
Oh, okay.
So she was sponsored. And instead of now, they're like, okay, your paperwork is not all right. You can go to Canada, but we can pay for your education in Nairobi. So she was in Nairobi.
Okay. So she wasn't living in the camp then?
No, she was done because once you graduate,
gotcha.
She had the opportunity of coming to Nairobi.
Okay.
So she came to Uganda. She stayed with me, but then she went back to Nairobi. And that's where I used to always go back to, just Nairobi.
Yeah. Wow. But still, to be separated, so to be able to be together now all the time must be fantastic. But also, like you said, such a big change from how you've both lived life.
It's like you get used to the separated life, just like, every 3 months I'm going to vacation. And now you're like, no, you're staying here with your wife and kids, which is amazing. Yeah. But the whole process was tough. But, again, in life, you adjust to every situation. You know? When a lot of my friends used to like, how can you be here without your family and kids? And then I used to tell them, if I had the power, I'll get on a plane right now and bring them.
Right.
But it's, again, it's like things you can't control.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't control it. I'll do the best I can. And you can just sit back and cry about those things that you can't control. Anything I can control, bring it, throw it at me. I'll do whatever I can to fix it.
Yeah.
But anything beyond my power, again, you have to rely, you have to trust God. Or else you'll go crazy thinking about things you can't fix,
Sure.
So I was like, okay, whatever. I apply the process. I do everything right. And as far as the petition goes, I remember when the travel ban was in place, I went to this lawyer. I'm like, is there anything I can do in this process to expedite her process to come over? And he's like, dude, you're actually ahead of me. I have like 20 clients, and where you are, I'm not even at that spot.
Yeah.
So I'll do everything in my power to get my family together. But things beyond my power, it's, you can't help it.
Man, I'm looking at you and you're such a humble and patient person. It's really incredible to hear your story and just hear you talk about how you've lived your life, because I'm like, I get upset if, I don't know, my plane gets delayed. And you're like, yeah, like my wife and I lived separately for like
Again,
7 years.
Yeah, it goes back to the life in Somalia. It goes back to the life in refugee. I think things that we learn as we grow up, sometimes you don't know their value until you grow up,
Yeah.
being humble, being, patient, you get up in the morning and you don't have a breakfast. Okay, let's just go to school and then let's see how lunch goes, or you go to school and you have one textbook in between 10 students and you have all homework due, but you just share, it's like just living with whatever you were given without complaining. Again, that goes back to my opening statement where I said my life in the refugee was the best experience. Again, it's like I lived there with whatever I had, and I was just thankful and humble and and looked forward for my second opportunity or whatever that was gonna be.
Yeah.
So it's just one thing at a time, one bottle at a time, and just having God in your picture, knowing that it's just a master plan He has for you, and you just have to act and play, and tomorrow will be a different day.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
That's amazing. Yeah. Really, truly. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So you said you went back to Somalia for the first time a few years ago?
Yeah.
How was that?
So my grandma, she lives in Minneapolis. She wanted to go back to Somalia, and I was like, I volunteered to take you there. My family actually at that time was still in Kenya. So we went to Kenya, stayed with my kids, and then, so she's from a different region of Somalia called Buntland, Galkayo. So I took her there, and I was like, okay, you're home, Grandma. See you. Literally, that's what I told her. So I went to 5 different cities. I went to the coastal beach, Somalia, Bosaso. I went to Mogadishu, which was like surreal, like going back there for the first time in a while. But then again, everywhere I go, my friends were there. We had lunch every time. We went together. I have so much pictures with them. It was the best thing ever. Again, I feel like I fed off social life, just seeing my friends, seeing my teachers. I saw one of my teachers at the Arab, shout out to him. He used to be the deputy headmaster of the primary school I used to go. My classmates, they were there working. And then all these things humbles you, people you were sitting in the same class with who are still trying to find their foot on the ground, trying to find a job, getting up every morning. Like I had this friend in Garowe who had his own gym place. He had a gym. I'm like, dude, is this like the LA Fitness of Garowe? It's just, you see them struggle. You see them, work hard. You see them just smile. And I'm like, why will I complain then, So that kind of gives me energy, a boost of energy. So when I come back here, I'm like, go getter. What do I need to achieve? This and this, I got to do it because I was given this opportunity to come here, and I didn't pay for this. Of all the classmates I had, somehow God picked me up. Like, hey, you go to US, So I have to be reminded of that, and I have to be grateful for that,
Wow.
Sorry, you asked me about Somalia, and I'm here talking about something else.
No, that's perfect. Like I said, you can't say anything wrong. This is your story. But I love hearing about that because you were not so young when you left. So you have a lot of memories from there still. It's not like you were 3 years old when you left Somalia. Yeah. You had a life there that you truly remember. And like you said, friends and classmates that you still have kept in touch with, which is incredible. So incredible. So you got to go a couple years ago, right before the whole world shut down. And based on how your trip sounded, I'm sure you'd like to go back.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Every day. I was telling one of my anesthesia class leadership, they're like, what are you going to do when you graduate? And everybody's like, oh, I'm going to work here. I'm going to work there. I was like, I'm just going to work for 5 years and then retire. Everybody's like, why are you retiring? Because I got to go back home and just chill with my friends. And I think that satisfies my life, just being with my friends around. Life is just too short about worrying about money, we've seen it. You can work every day. COVID came and just wiped us, half of the humanity out. And that kind of reminds you, life's not all about working. It's just being with friends and being with your loved ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I think that once I'm done with this DMP program, just relax,
Yeah.
'Cause I've been running, I've been hustling.
Yes, you have.
I need to just calm down and just have a cup of tea and just chit chat all day about topics I don't even know about.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me think of something else. You were in healthcare during the pandemic. How was
Yes.
that for you?
That was the most toughest situation ever in my life. Yeah. All of a sudden we went from social life to seclusion, and then especially I was working in the ICU. It was just hard. It was really hard. The hardest thing ever. And especially in my community, the Somali community, the minority, they didn't know about healthcare system. They will bring their mom, their grandma, their dad to the emergency room with shortness of breath. And then, how COVID was horrible. You go from just mild sick to extreme sick. So they're like, oh, I brought my mom yesterday. She was fine. She just had a little bit of cough. Now you tell me she's dead? I was trying to be there for them, like, hey, things can turn. With COVID, it was just nobody knew the whole process or how it spread. Just like one day you're on 2 liters of oxygen, the other day you're on 4 liters, the other day you're on BiPAP, the other day you're intubated, the other day you're prone. Boom, here you are. So it was really, really hard, especially in my community. It was really hard. A lot of people don't know about anything to do with healthcare and just showed the vulnerability that they had,
Absolutely. Yeah. A lack of information again. Yeah. And you have communities in so many different places.
Yeah.
So to be in your position as somebody that is in the middle of all this and working nonstop, I assume, because I know how much healthcare workers were just on the battlefield every day on the front lines. And, in the meantime, you have community here, you have community in Canada, you have community in Kenya, community in Somalia.
And all calling.
Yeah.
Telling me, asking me about what this is. And that's why I actually tried to be a leader in that end. When COVID vaccine came out, I took my vaccine just so that they can see it's safe, because there was no other treatment available.
Yeah.
Other than the vaccines. I'm like, guys, let's take the vaccines. So I took the vaccines and I did a lot of COVID testing in the community. I did a lot of vaccine delivery in the community just so that I can talk to them. And the thing that humbles me is when someone comes to me like, hey, I want to take the vaccine. And then you give it to them. And, in Islam, anytime you want to do something, you say Bismillah, meaning like I start in the name of God. You tell them Bismillah. They trust you more than anyone else.
Yeah.
The whole COVID brought out a whole different story, a whole different vulnerability in the community, and just showed we have a lot of way to go to teach people on how to take care of themselves, how to be there for each other. There's a lot of things going on with COVID. It was just hard.
Yeah.
For everyone, you can look left and right and see your coworkers go through the struggle. Thank God none of my family died in COVID, but my coworkers, like, oh, my dad died or my mom died, my sibling died. It was just hard. It just shows you the whole humans are the same thing,
Exactly.
We all put we put ourselves in a different box, but at the end of the day, we all come back to the human race.
Mm-hmm. We all want the same things out of life. So you're in your program now, and then you're retiring.
I guess so.
So are you staying in Minnesota? Do you want to go somewhere else? Like what does the future hold for you?
Yeah, so I think the retirement part was just a little bit of a joke, I think.
Yeah.
I want to pretty much stay in Minnesota, work, see how many people I can help, especially the reason I actually got into anesthesia kind of reminds me another thing is the spinal epidural that are given to expecting women during delivery. Again, coming back to the community, some of the community people have negative quotation to that, like, oh, don't give me the spinal, don't force me to have a baby quicker, or the spinal will lead to, numbness and paralysis. And yes, they do lead to those things, but the numbers are so small and negligible, Nobody knows what the outcome is going to be, but it's a safe way of delivering, It's something that I wanted to go out there and tell the community about,
Yeah.
And then hopefully kind of inspire a lot of other students to get into anesthesia. We have a lot of Somalis who are in the nursing field now.
Okay.
Some of them just about to graduate, or others already graduate. Everybody's scared of ICU, and I keep telling them, like, the best thing you can do for yourself is go to ICU, learn, and then if you want to go back to medical school, go back or become a PA or become a nurse anesthetist, which are very short, There's few Somalis. I think my friend Imran is in the program. I'm in the program. I don't even know if there's any practicing Somali anesthetists available out there, but there's a lot of us in Minnesota. The other thing is the school I'm going to right now, St. Mary's University, is 3 minutes away from the Somali Mall. It's right there in the middle of the Somali center, and I'm the only one going there.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm like, if you're in this area, you should have more Somalis. But the thing is, a lot of people don't even know about it.
Okay.
I lived in the area when I came in 2017, and I was working at Abbott for 3 years, and I didn't know the school even existed. Again, information, I want to go out there, tell people about it. Like, hey, there's this program that actually is in your neighborhood, and if you finish, there's a bright future for you. They make a lot of good money. It's a noble job. It's, it's something doable, but a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
So that's I think my next stage of my life will be going out there and just helping people as much as I can. And I do help people right now too, but it's just being there again,
Yeah.
You were helped before, be there for people so you can help them. It's just giving back. It's what I'm pretty much going to do whenever I graduate.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in a lot of
Right now you're focused.
focused, yeah.
You got enough going on.
a lot going on right now.
You got a 2-month-old at home. So.
2 months at home, and my son, he's 5. He's autistic, so that's also another thing that's going on with me at home. But again, my siblings are my backbone, so they're here helping me. They take turns. It's like a shift we all go into. Like everybody has a day with him. He goes to school, and then he's getting better, much better than before. So yeah, it's just always whatever I do in my life, there was people there to help me.
Yeah.
So I want to be there for other people when they need me too, kind of thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you've just proved how important community is over and over again by what you've received and what you've given as well. Why do you think the healthcare field is so important in your community?
Because my people, they moved here in the U.S., I think about 30 to 35 years ago. The first family that came to Minnesota in July, right? That made everyone move here. So now we're getting older. We're staying here longer. Every health problem that's out there is coming to the community, right? If you talk about hypertension, if you talk about diabetes, if you talk about, teen overdose, drug overdose, everything that's out there is coming to the community. Initially, it was like this wonderful, amazing 2-3 families that are very clean, whatever,
Yeah,
right now,
vacuum.
yeah. So right now, the more we stay here, the more we're exposed to whatever is out there, right? So now you're seeing people getting sicker in the hospital. Another major thing is my community is based on communication to each other. They talk to each other like, hey, I need to find a job. So instead of me going to Google and finding where to get a job, I'll call my friend like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Where is a job available? And they'll tell me, if you need a job, go here or go there. So now when it comes to healthcare, you can't do that. You can't have hypertension and call your friend and be like, dude, I have hypertension or diabetes. What should I do? Unfortunately, what they do is, you go to Target or Walmart, buy lemon and ginger and do this, which is fine, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
Yes, community help is okay when it comes to, resource, job opportunity, but when it comes to healthcare, you really have to consult
professionals,
healthcare professionals, So that's where we're missing. Even with COVID, they were calling each other like, hey, I think I have a cough. What should I do? Oh, drink a hot tea or drink a ginger, which is fine. And I'm not saying those things are wrong. What I'm saying is we need more than that. We need people that they can call within the community, like, hey, I have this going on, what should I do? Oh, if you have this going, go to the emergency room, go to your primary doctor. If so-and-so is sick, avoid them. They don't speak the language also. I go with my grandma to the healthcare system, and I'm shocked on how poor the translation is. And I'm really shocked. I usually don't go there and try to intervene with whatever they're doing because they're working hard. They're trying their best, but sometimes that language barrier is so huge that the whole translation
is off.
Yeah. That's one example. My grandma was with this one doctor and he's like, I'm moving to another practice. And she's like, oh, don't go. He's like, no, it's okay. I'm just leaving. So-and-so will be here and she will take care of you. And then he added this word. He's like, I will refer my family to her. Meaning that's how much he trusts, right? But the translation was, oh, he referred all his patients to her. It's a different. It's a minute difference, but it's a huge difference. When you refer someone to your family, it means you trust them that much. Mm-hmm. But when you just transfer your patient to her, means like that was what you're supposed to do, right?
Right. Sure.
And, those things. Another example I can think of. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tantrum here.
Don't do it.
One of my friends had a liver disease, and they didn't know exactly what the issue was, so they told him, "We're gonna do biopsy." But then the translation he got was, "We'll cut your liver."
Oh.
And he's like, "No, you won't cut my liver." And he refused the biopsy. So again, those things. One of my friends' mom had a TIA, that's transient ischemic stroke, which is minor stroke. Mm-hmm. So she got to the hospital on time. We have so much advancement in stroke lately that we have something called thrombolytic, where they go through your groin, in and out, take out whatever was blocking your blood flow, and you're home next day.
Yeah.
But then the translation was, you're going to have a brain surgery. And she's like, no, I have kids that waiting me at home. So those, health disparity because of language, because of culture, because of, again, the way we get information, which is relying on other people's, input, was magnified or was made into light more during COVID,
Sure.
I don't know what I can do about it, but I am trying my best. It's
because it sounds like, does it breed distrust then?
Sorry, say it again.
Does that breed distrust when it's such a miscommunication, right? And you're sitting from this point where you're like, I understand this is a miscommunication, but when you're talking about an insular community that is like putting themselves out there to receive care, and then it just feels really aggressive, or like they're not really sure what's going to happen. So does it just make them say, well, never mind? Yeah.
And they just leave, or else they don't receive the best care they were supposed to receive because of, the language, or they give up and they just move on, and then that person will end up dying because of that stroke they had, or that person will end up because of that liver disease that was preventable probably. We don't know a lot of things because sometimes, God has his own plan, but there's so many things that can be done for them, but because of the language, because of lack of, knowledge in the field. But I'm not saying this to put down my people. It's just, it's getting harder for them because now they're getting older, they're having more healthcare problems, but they're not receiving the optimal care they can. I've been involved in the ICU. Everybody knows in my ICU that anytime the Somali family, or by the way, I'm actually half Somali, half Ethiopian. I identify myself more as a Somali than Ethiopian. I don't know why, but my dad is actually Ethiopian.
Oh, okay.
So when I say my people, I'm thinking about Ethiopians and Somalis together. Sorry, guys. So when Ethiopian patient comes or Somali patient comes, small things happen. Like, let's talk about visitation restriction. Like with COVID, we were only allowing 2 people, and us, we come in a group, the whole neighbors come. So that was a big conflict area. And,
sure.
and this takes away the care that you'll have otherwise given to the patient. Now you're dealing with family members like, hey guys, we only allow 2 people. But they're like, no, my grandma is coming, my aunt is coming, my mom is coming, everybody wants to visit them, So that kind of also exposed them because it's a simple thing. Yes, we have rules and regulation, but making that rule to exist takes away the time and energy from the patient. Energy, moves. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just be transferred, right? So this negative energy at the door that you're having with the family not to come in, whoever end up coming will tell the patient, and the patient's blood pressure goes up. The patient gets more upset. The patient becomes more, it just, I think it's a multi-facet problem that exists. And it just hurts me to see simple things. And then I come in, for example, and then I go to the door and I literally explain the same thing that they were telling them in English, in Somali or in Oromo or Ethiopian. And they say, okay. So you wonder why they said okay to me and not to my wonderful coworkers, Is it because of the culture? Is it because of the knowledge? Is it because they trust me more than them? It's like literally I say the same thing they were telling them, and they listen to me.
Yeah.
But then, it makes it hard for everyone involved.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I think it just goes to the point that there's so much nuance with people, right? Nothing's black and white, and you can't act like people are just one thing or the other. There's so much nuance in dealing with people and relationships and culture and everything. Like everything comes into play at that moment. And when you're talking about something like healthcare, which is already a very emotional thing for families and friends of somebody that is being treated, that just ups the ante even more, right?
Yeah. And just, doubling down on the culture part, I think the U.S. system is a little bit different than our upbringing. Back home, you can tell your friend, go away, and he won't be mad at you. But here you tell someone, go away, and they're like, they get mad at you. Back home, in our language, sometimes when you speak Somali and you want to speak English, you literally translate whatever you were trying to say in Somali to English. And those things sometimes are perceived as negative, And I think people here are more sensitive than back us, home. Like if you tell someone, stop lying, it's one of the words we always use, like, benta shegan iska aamus, meaning like, stop lying. It's not even a big deal when I'm saying it.
Yeah.
But when you say it, like a family member is talking to a healthcare or a doctor and this happened, and they tell him, stop lying. And that literally crushed him, or whoever the healthcare system is, thinking that this family meant bad. But they literally was just saying, stop lying, meaning like, bent eskaraf. Not a big deal.
Kind of like off the cuff.
Yeah. But then they're like, why would I lie to you? Like now they analyze the whole thing, like, why would I lie to you? I was just taking care of your family member. And now just the whole, environment is so tense because, they called me a liar or they did this to me. And this is not to protect my my people or kind of defend them, but the word they use sometimes come across as really, vague, sometimes very strong. Or if you look at it from a different side, it's like you tell them yesterday that, they're going to get better tomorrow based on clinical presentation today, the blood pressure today, whatever we see right now, we're hoping tomorrow they get better. In the medical field, I understand that means yes, maybe they'll get better, maybe they'll not get better. But here my community will think, okay, you told me they're going to get better. So they literally wait until they get to tomorrow. And tomorrow if you tell them, I'm sorry, we had to re-intubate your patient or your family member, meaning we have to put the breathing tube back in because of the respiratory issue, whatever, they become mad because like, you told me yesterday that she's going to get better today. Why are you trying to kill her? So now when you hear this word as a healthcare provider, you're like, I wasn't here yesterday. There was my colleague was taking care of it. It's a whole clash.
Yeah.
I am watching it from both ends.
Right.
I can see where the family is coming from. I can see where the healthcare professionals are coming from. I'm just in this crazy vantage point where I see both ends. When I'm talking to family members, they tell me like, my coworker is really bad. And I know that coworker was the best coworker ever.
Yeah.
But just because of the culture difference, the language difference, the different upbringing.
Yeah.
On top of healthcare disparity now going on, all these things just making the whole situation hard.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you going into detail with that because I think it's something that a lot of us don't understand, how the nuances kind of come into play and how things you want to look at something as straightforward, and it's just not. It's not straightforward because people are different and cultures are different and languages are different. And it makes things really difficult. And
It really makes it difficult. Ask me about it, God.
yeah. And I just think it's so important to talk about. And I really appreciate that you did, because everybody is acting in good faith, right? Everybody's acting to the best of their ability. And maybe we need to give people more of the benefit of the doubt here, right? Because people are trying their best on both sides.
On both sides, we're going to work every day. We're leaving our loved ones. It's COVID. Probably we have not seen our loved one for days. And then here comes a family member who didn't see their loved ones for days also. But then we have this rules and regulation that we have to follow. But then nobody cares about rules when they come to, it makes the whole thing. But then I appreciate all my coworkers. I appreciate all my healthcare, providers. At the same time, I appreciate my, I keep saying my people. I appreciate the family members that come, because everybody has a different goal, but we all come at the same time. We're all trying to provide the best care for this patient. Yeah. From a different angle.
Yeah.
It just makes the whole situation hard. And this is just based on my experience, in the ICU, just seeing people and talking to the community, kind of hearing their side of the story. I literally had one of my friends tell me like, hey, so-and-so in the hospital, they're doing this and this to her or to him. I'm like, what are they doing? They're doing this and this. I'm like, they can't do that. It's not, you can't do those things to a patient. You have to get consent for you to do surgery. But then I'm trying to also dismiss, misinformation from this end. It's just, you go to the mosque and discuss with friends, like, oh, if you go to this hospital, they do this to you. But if you go to this, I'm like, no, nobody does these things.
Right.
Yeah, nobody does.
It's hard, man. Like, whisper down the lane. And like you're saying, you're talking to other people. And so the information is, everybody is getting information from somebody else's lens. So it makes objective information really difficult to pass around. What a ride that you've been on for the last few years. Have you seen things get better? Like, are you in a better position now, do you think?
So personally, I think I'm in a better position. Every day, I'm trying to better myself. I'm also trying to set a standard which is questionable for my siblings, because I want to tell them like the hard work at the end pays off, They were, unlike me, young when they came to this country. So you tell them like, oh, back in the days I did this and now I did this. Come on, they're like, whatever, shut up, get out of here. All the things I'm telling you, I tell them, but they don't listen,
They don't think it's as amazing.
Yeah.
That's the nature of family, right?
Yeah, it's funny. All my friends call me, seeking my advice on career goals, what to do after high school, what to do in college. I'm meeting them to tell them, like, do this and do this. And then I got my siblings here, like, whatever. Whatever.
So have any of your siblings followed in your footsteps?
So my brother, he has a bachelor degree in IT. And then I have another brother who also has a bachelor degree in business and minor in law. And then the rest they're done with their high school, but still in college trying to figure out what to do with their life, So yeah, they're doing all good. They're amazing. They're the best siblings I can ever ask for. We still have a sibling rivalry going on.
Of course. That will always exist, yeah.
My youngest sister, her name is Fatima. She's trying to be a psychologist. She's like, okay, what are you going to do with being a psychologist? She's like, I'm going to just sit there and listen to people. Listen to their story. I'm just not there.
Hey, she could do this podcast.
Yeah, she will be awesome. She will do great.
That's awesome. Having had the experiences that you have, I mean, you've lived obviously several different places. What do you wish you could change in the camps? Well, I'll ask you one question at a time. Yeah. What do you wish you could change in the camps? I
think my answer here will be obvious. It will be education. I'll tackle down that part. I went back 2019. The education system was not the way it was when we were there. Again, it's because we're having more students, less teachers, less building, less resource. So now actually the high school that I used to go morning and afternoon now are being attended by two different cohorts. There's a morning cohort and there's afternoon cohort, meaning that shows you there's a lot of students but less building. So if there's anything I'll change in my life, I'll really go back there, build more school, bring more books, just to make education available to the students, and make it competitive. It was very competitive during our time. Canada was a huge part of it. The resettlement program or the scholarship program to go to Canada was a huge part. So make available more scholarship. I don't know why Canada was the only one coming there and taking people. I feel like US should also do that because I feel like also the European countries should do that. It's another way of giving life to young kids who will otherwise turn to, drug or, just harmful thing. When you're young, you're prone to everything. So keeping those students in class will make, I have a lot of my friends who we went to school together are having a leadership position in the government of Somalia now. And that,
wow.
It just shows you education will change community,
Yeah.
So I'll hone down on education every day.
Yeah, you it sounds like you were really there at I don't want to say this too flippantly or anything, but at a special time where you were really serviced by the teachers that happened to be there while you were there, were just very engaged.
Yeah, and luckily, during my time there, we still had security issue. There was, things happening, but we didn't have things that are happening back home right now. Like, there's this, I don't want to go political here, but there's this group called Al-Shabaab that target people left and right. They come to the refugee, they do things here and there, whatever, It's getting hard to recruit teachers from Kenyan side of it, where, those teachers are well educated and they know what they're doing. So it's hard for them to come to the camps now because the security is getting out of the hand and so many other things. I don't know exactly the whole story, but during our time, we literally used to sleep in school, It was so competitive. You don't even have time to go back home. You're like,
wow.
It was like, just thinking about it gives me a goosebumps, Just thinking about it, for me, it was the best time ever. It made me read. It made me do things. It made me just,
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I have that competitive nature in me.
I think you do. But also, it was your relief, right? It was your release. And this is where you found so much of who you are, is through your education.
Yeah. I still remember the day I got the news that I was coming to the U.S. It was like around 2 p.m. And every day from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. we used to do math problems. So we work on our math. It's hot. You can read anything. Working on a math problem makes maybe your brain stay awake or whatever. We had this wonderful schedule that was set by one of my best friend. His name is Mohammed Ma'al M Square. He is in Canada. Shout out to him. Anyway, we used to do math in the afternoon. And then my brother came and whispered to my ears like, hey, we got our flight scheduled for US. So 5 of my friends are in the class, my best friends. Everybody's in the class. We're doing math. And my reaction is supposed to be like, get up, jump up and down. I didn't even flinch. I didn't even move. I just continued doing my math problems. Around 4 p.m. is when we take a break for prayer, And then we're walking down. I'm like, hey guys, do you see when my brother came? They're like, yeah, I think we're going to the US, I guess. They're like, what? You sat down with that information. I didn't want it to disturb the class, the studying time. We were all studying. But again, it wasn't a big deal for me at that time because I was so immersed into education that even coming to the US was not a huge deal.
Yeah, it was kind of a disappointment.
Yeah, like whatever, So yeah.
It's no Canada. Do you see a time where these camps aren't needed in Kenya?
So that's the $1 million question. I don't know. Yeah. Usually I try to say something about everything, but I don't know because You go there, there's people, who are so desperate, who don't have anything, who don't know where their next meal is coming from, and rely on the program in the refugees to exist. There are people who are there for security reason. There's a lot of things going on there. Literally, it just shocks you when you go there, So I really don't know.
Yeah.
Because the Kenyan government were trying so many times to close the refugee camp down. But every time they want to do that, the need is there.
Yeah.
This refugee camp was supposed to host or shelter about 10,000 people, but now I think over 100,000 that was 10 years ago, the number I'm telling you. Right now, it might be more,
Yeah.
More kids, more females, more women, vulnerable women are there, more adults. Yeah. And
like you said, it was supposed to be temporary. Right?
It was literally supposed to be temporary, and now 20, 30, 40 years down the line, it will still exist, Again, I don't know. You think about life, I wish if Somalia had a government, people stop fighting. Because one thing I learned about the U.S. and here is people bluff a lot of times, U.S. is telling the North Korea, like, hey, if you don't do this, I'll do this to you. But you just bluff. But then in Africa, we don't know how to bluff. When you bluff, the next day you fight, and then that displaces people, It's okay to have a different opinion, but it's not okay to fight over everything. Some things are not worth fighting, but people still fight over small things, Everybody's not meant to be a politician,
Yeah.
Some people are supposed to be doctors, others are supposed to be engineers. But the issue with Somalia, I think everybody wants to be a politician. I wish we'll grow from there. And I think by now, a lot of us came to the U.S., a lot of us went to Europe and England and everywhere. We have a lot of education. I don't know when it will stop.
Yeah.
Just disappointment in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that a lot of people or a lot of Somalis want to go back? Like, if they could?
Yeah. When I went back to Somalia, I've seen them, a lot of them resettled back to Somalia. But again, this is the thing. Everyone wants also to come to the U.S. or Europe. I've talked to a lot of people. So when I go there, they all want to come here. When I come here and I talk to them, they all want to go back. Again, this brings me back. I think what is happening is everybody wants to have whatever they don't have.
Yeah, sure.
It never ends, right? Human wants are.
Yeah, that's the human condition. I think that's a symptom of everybody. Yeah. For sure.
Like my wife, back home, she had a lot of help. She, again, I don't want to brag about this, but I was here, I was working, so I was sending back money. So she was able to hire people to help her with kids and all that good stuff. But then when you come here, well, you're a middle class, if you can be in a middle class, actually. And then, which means you don't have the power of hiring anyone here. So you got to do everything. And it gets hard, just realizing like, oh my God, there's a lot of house chores to do. You got to get like yesterday, I had to get up 7 a.m. to take my son to for a dental appointment because I got to school weekdays. So I have to do it on the weekend. It was so hard because you have to wake him up, you have to feed him, you have to get him ready and then go there. But then back home, appointment don't start until like 1 p.m. or 2 p.m.
What is this 7 a.m. nonsense?
So the U.S. system, the clock system, the work system, everything puts you into this robot mind, and it's get tiring. So anyone who's been in the U.S., if you talk to them like, hey, you want to go back home? They're like, yeah, let's go back. Anyone who's home, even tell them like, hey, what do you want to do? I want to go to the U.S. so I can work. So it's it never ends.
Yeah, the grass is always greener.
Green
for
on
sure.
that side, yeah.
For sure. What's something that you wish people realized about refugees in America? Like the general population?
They're just humans like you are. Yeah. Who, when I think about refugee lifestyle, I think about things you cannot control again. So it's like one day we're in the US today and then something happened, God forbid, and then we all, exposed to being a refugee. How would you want people to react to you? Or how do you want people, like, for example, Syria had a government, it was a functioning country, all of a sudden they become refugees.
Yeah.
Half of these people, if you talk to them, they were doctors, there was something in there, and all of a sudden now they're in this territory. It's not something they choose, So the color of your skin, your parent, anything you cannot control. I don't like people be judged on that. But anything you can change, I'm like, come on, pick up your slack, do change. But anything that you cannot control, be thankful that you're not in that situation and do whatever you can to help them,
Yeah.
There's a lot of things out there, a lot of, information, misinformation, a lot of, stereotype, whatever. Just get out of all that layers. And if you can help. If you can't help, just don't say anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't contribute, to the negative.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, how much of our world would be changed if we all just lived by that? Yeah. Don't contribute to the negative.
Yeah.
Like you said, it could be you. Like at any point.
It can be anyone.
Yeah. It can be anybody.
Yeah, it can be anyone. And there's this saying of the Prophet ﷺ that says, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut," which means whoever believes in God and the Day of Judgment, and this is in the Islamic version of believe. If you believe in God and the Day of Judgment, فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ, say a good thing or be quiet. Meaning, do not beat your drum about something that you don't know about. If you want to say something good, say. If you don't want to say, if it's something bad, just don't say it.
Yeah.
But again, who does it, right? I will be out there saying things, but it's just hard, humans are just, it's tough. And, and a lot of times I feel like we are judged because of our shortcomings. Then, nobody sees you on your bright moment. And then everybody's like, oh, so-and-so is so bad. No, that was one moment. We just have to start becoming more forgiving, give people more leeway because things happen. Even the refugees will do a mistake. It doesn't mean every refugee will do it.
Sure.
Even, normal people will do things. It doesn't mean every day, things happen, but then those flash points, do not use that as a, justification that everyone else is bad or everyone else is this.
Yeah.
Think about yourself. What do you do behind the scene when no one sees you?
Yeah.
Anyone, we all have our own things.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're not wrong.
But just because you're a refugee doesn't mean then whatever you did that day applies to all refugees.
Sure.
I think that's what happens a lot of time,
Yeah.
One person does something, like, oh my God, these people. The word "these people" kills,
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard.
100%.
Yeah.
You're very right. And also, to your point, it was one moment of their life. That doesn't mean that's who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have a question that I ask everybody.
Okay.
Through the lens of your experience, your lived experience, how do you view compassion? What does compassion mean to you?
For me, compassion is just being there for that person. Trying to see if there's anything in my power I can do to make the situation better, whether it is misunderstanding between a family member and my coworkers, and just go there and kind of talk to them and see if I can make that situation better, whether it's guiding a student in high school or college so they can pick a better opportunity. Because a lot of things, a lot of times my friends, they think once you finish high school, you have to go to a 4-year degree. No, sometimes you can just go to 2-year diploma, get it, start working, and kind of keep going to school from there. So compassion can have a different version of it. But to me, again, back to my education, and that's my world, is just helping someone achieve a goal quicker than they thought, or helping them guide by telling them about a career that they didn't know about. Because there's so many things you can be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about you today, which I really appreciate because, I really enjoyed meeting you over the phone when we spoke a few months ago, but I just am walking away with such a appreciation for who you are and what you're doing, and I just really respect you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was amazing.
Thank you so much for listening to The Human Experience. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share it with others, and leave a rating and review on your favorite platform. Everyone has a story, and I'd love to hear yours, so be sure to check out the show notes for more information about how to stay in touch. Do good and take care.